Okay, hi all, it's Lynn here with Paper Life, and I teased you yesterday with the fact that I was going to do a quick video on some tips and tricks for printing out digitals. This can also work on really just about anything that's not going to be helpful. Yeah, it might be. If you're trying to do really any form of printing, but this is going to be focused more on doing digital pictures, digital images, the kits that we all purchase. And right now I'm on a junk journal kit, so I guess maybe more geared in that direction. The first thing that I use is the paper that I do most of my writing on is this one. And I'm hoping I don't have a lot of glare. I don't have that horrible. I use a 28-pound paperweight. I like this brand because it tends to be a little more inexpensive than other things that you can get. I've used all the way up to like 36 weight. That's pretty good. And here's part of the reason that I use it. Like, here's just a regular sheet of cheap copy paper. I'm not sure if you can really see this, but like I can make out all the words of my paper underneath. I also tend to do a lot of writing in my journals, and I've tested out a lot of different papers because I don't like ghosting or bleeding. I just don't want to get to the other side of it and be able to read what I wrote. So here's two pens that I just happen to have handy. It's the Papermate, and then this is just this is a Papermade. So both two pens that are really good at not being seen through. And I don't know if you can see this at all, probably not. But right here I can slightly make out what I wrote. Nothing horrible, but you can. Here is a sheet of this paper. And yeah, I can still make out a little bit of the pattern behind there. It's not going to be, absolute best, but as you can tell, it holds up more of its weight. It's just a little thicker. It has a nicer feel to it. A friend of mine actually uses I'm going to try to get this right. It's the HP brochure paper, and her images come out amazing. However, that paper is like $30. So this one's cheaper. This one at my local store is like $8. You're getting 30 sheets of it. I'm not going to complain for that. I will say that your paper quality does make a big difference on how your images print out. I would love to tell you all to just go get the cheapest paper you can and that it's going to look the same, but it doesn't. If I'm doing something like my tags, I don't have any out here, but I usually just use a off-white cardstock. Most time I get mine from like Michael's. I had another question from one of my friends, and it was about printing on both sides, like this is done. To be honest, I wish there was a great secret that I could tell you guys all on how to do it, but every printer is different. The printer I'm using now doesn't do the automatic two-sided print, which, okay, it would be nice, but it does do a print where it goes all the way out to the edge of the paper instead of needing a border. So that was, to me, in my opinion, worth not having the two-sided print. I will show you a trick of what I've figured out with printers is, like, say I'm getting ready to print something two-sided and I want to know how my printer feeds in paper. what I'll do is I'll just grab a piece of paper and I'm going to make 2 little arrows. This one's going to feed down into the printer where my paper goes in, and this will just be some form of reference. So if it's, hey, my computer's over on this side, I'm sitting more on this side, then you'll know that when you put the paper in, the arrow is pointing towards you, the printer, whatever. I'll put the paper in. Mine's a top feed printer, so I just put it in there, and then when it prints out, I'm just going to pay attention to where my arrows are. So if for whatever reason your printer flips the paper over and when you print out your image is on this side, well, then you know when you put your paper back in the printer, you're going to, I did that all weird because mine doesn't do that. Okay, for if some reason after you printed it out, your image or whatever you're printing was on this side of the paper, not on the side with the arrows, that tells me when I put my paper back in, I need to make sure my image is facing towards me. I don't know if that makes any sense. For me, I know that on my printer, when I print out, it always prints out the paper straight like this. So if I want to, say, line this page up completely the same again and print it on the other side, the way I'm going to put it in is I would keep all those directions in the same way, but put it back in my paper, my printer this way, so that I would print the images in the right spot. Because if not, sometimes you can get it where instead of it printing out like this, it would print out like upside down. Do I have this figured out? No. Do I still print upside down sometimes? Yes. You can ask anybody I'm friends with because they have heard me yell and scream about this more than one time. Focusing on the junk journals for a moment, I'm just going to set that to the side. A lot of us use either coffee stained, tea stained, colored, where we colored our own paper. I will tell you that at least in my printer, trying to print on a piece of paper that I've already stained is challenging. The easiest thing I've found to do is I use my stove to dry my paper, so it tends to make it more wrinkled. I will get out my iron and iron it down to make it smoother, but it's not going to bring it back, or I haven't found at least that it'll bring it back to the same crisp, smooth status that your paper was originally in. So I'll find that, you know, sometimes it misfeeds it. Usually what it does is it either doesn't pick up that there's paper in there, or it'll want to print, and when it feeds down the paper, it'll just spit it straight through and pull out another one. So that is annoying, but that's one reason why if I'll print just like a blank kind of aged paper look on my opposite side. I know it's annoying, but that is what it is, at least for me. I've also done it where I put something heavy on top of my paper after I've stained it. Me, myself, I have not had good success with that at all. I mean, right now I have a cast iron bacon press sitting on top of my paper, and it's going to flatten it some, but it's not going to flatten it enough for it to go through my printer. So if I absolutely need it to go through, then I'll iron it. I think that's about it. I don't know what else to tell you. I have no idea what else to tell you because usually I just use a program that's on my computer to, you know, print it out, send it to my printer. I'll either open it up in my Photoshop if I want to make sure that I'm printing it at the exact measurements that it was originally intended for. or I'll use one of my photo printers or one of my photo programs that's usually just my default on my printer. I don't really love it, but it prints it out and does a good job. Everybody's going to be different. The type of software you're going to have is going to be different. So I don't really know that there's a point for me to show you. If you order my digital kits, I save them in PDF. So do some of the other designers. Those are usually really easy because they should open up in your web browser, give you the option to save it onto your computer if you haven't already. And it'll also give you the option to print it right from there. I'm talking with my hands, so I'm glad you can't see me. So with the PDFs, you don't need any special programs to print them. It's just click and print. I don't know what else to tell you. I will tell you because I'm cheap. Now keep in mind, I don't have any HP printer CEOs following my YouTube. If I do, hook me up because I will so promote you. Now, with that being said, no one's going to promote me. Oh, my oven just preheated up to temperature. I got a HP printer. I think the printer itself was like $40. It might have been $50 out the door, but it was delivered. They had a promotion going at the time. But get the HP ink program. If you're going to print, get the HP ink program. Right now, I spend $10 a month on the subscription I got. Now they have cheaper ones as well, but I get 300 pages a month. No matter how much ink I go through, it's 300 pages for $10. If you are going to get into doing a lot of printing, get that program. It is worth it. I mean, matter of fact, I bought a new printer to get that program because buying the printer was cheaper than going out to buy ink for my printer. All right, guys, everybody have a good day. I have like a whopping 20 minutes before I have to go get the kids from school. So I might try to sneak in some crafting. Bye, guys.